Live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Thursday night. Welcome to the program. Dish Network Channel 219, Pluto TV, Channel 470, 1175 on Samsung TV Plus. Also, follow us on the Roku channel. You can check us out as well as watch us live on Distro TV. Also, follow us on all of the socials. Remember, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, and the Rumble chat, all the chats, and of course the Getter chat, the biggest home so far. We're growing the other ones, and we want you guys to visit there as well. If you're on Getter, visit the other ones. Say hello to those communities as they come together and start to grow as well. Damon will be joining us a little bit later on, but for right now, we're in the midst of the Trump campaign. Yes, he just finished a speech, great speech, down
As
in,
always.
I think he's in D.C., right? Was that in D.C.? I'm unsure. Yeah, I think so. And now he's off to another event, from what I understand. We're going to be checking in with Brian Glenn, who was a guest on this show the other night. He is embedded. I think that's the word. That's the word. That's the
very
combat.
Secret Service
embedded,
award.
all right.
Yes, he's embedded with the Trump campaign.
No doubt.
So we'll be taking hits from him in just a little bit. We might see him in this first break. We might see him in the next one. But we're going to be touching base with him before President Trump gets to his next location. In the meantime, Slick Rick is here with Sports. Slick, how are you, my friend?
What's up, Rick? Good to see you. Vin, good to see you. Thursday night football. Let's go.
Yeah, odds makers kicking off on a Thursday night. You
That's
guys,
right.
You guys already have your picks?
Yeah, we have our pick already from Met Geta Life in the Deadlands. We'll see what happens tonight for the Jets.
Oh, man. We're so pessimistic, aren't we, about the Jets? I mean, come on.
All right, it's the Jets are playing who?
The Jets are playing the Patriots, hosting the New England Patriots.
You mean the 2-0 New England Patriots?
No, I mean the 1-1 New England
Oh, they're
Patriots.
1-1.
They lost in overtime on
I thought
Sunday.
they were 2-0. I thought they were 2-0.
No, 1-1, but they almost were 2-0. Not quite.
Right. So you could say the almost.
And Jets are 1-1 too now. So good game, good matchup, good AFC East matchup tonight.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yep.
We'll get you guys to place your odds makers bets in just a little bit. I guess we'll do it in the next segment when we do sports. So we'll do that. Let's say hello to Vin.
Yeah.
Vin, how are you?
Well, let me just open with this. I grew up in a middle-class family.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to open with that
All
every
right, good-
time. I think
good to
it's
hear.
working for Kamala.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she
Kamala.
grew up in a middle-class family. Whatever the question is, what's the score of the Jets game?
Right.
I grew up in a middle-class family.
With a nice lawn.
Seems to be.
Hey, what'd you have for lunch today?
I grew up in a middle-class family.
Yeah, me too.
Talk about the ultimate diversion. Things are good. You know, it was great, by the way, watching the event in Uniondale. I mean, oh my God. I know you guys talked about it last night.
Yeah.
And then
Did you go?
I didn't go.
Okay.
I watched it with you guys. I was watching you. And then, he goes on Gutfeld after.
Yeah,
I know.
I couldn't believe it either. I turned Gutfeld on. I do watch it, 10 o'clock, hanging out. And Trump's there. And it tells you so much about this guy. That he could just show up, sits down, has the conversation, is funny, and let them make fun of him too. You know, he's just such a natural. He speaks from the heart, like him or not. Speaks from the heart, and he didn't grow up in a middle class family,
Right.
but I did.
but he did have that upbringing. Getting brought up by a guy who worked.
I think he learned that. He said it many times, and he said something interesting last night because he talked about the fact that, the people that I really connect with, they're asking him, who do you connect with, are the workers, the Teamsters. And I remember seeing him in Trump Tower early in my career. I think I told you guys this. My first client was Calvin Klein Cosmetics, and they were in Trump Tower. This is back, I was like 24, it was in 1987 or something, 85. And anyhow, I used to watch him talking to people, and he was talking to the elevator guy and the porters and the chef and the waiters and all. He wasn't hobnobbing, so it's sincere. Like, he gets along with those guys because I think he grew up dealing with the workers and the contractors and the cement guys and all the union guys.
Yeah. And having to, and it's one of those things when you're in those types of businesses, and you're working with people on a daily basis, and you're depending on these people. So, and he's got that gift of remembering people, remembering their story, kind of asking questions about, because that's how you kind of make that connection.
Yeah.
And someone like a Kamala Harris, very superficial. There's not a lot back there. It's like a facade. Once you get past the crunchy candy coating, ain't much back there.
She would have nothing to say.
Right.
The thing about union workers and firemen and policemen, the BS meter's really high.
Yeah.
they're straight shooters, like it or not. They'll call you out no matter what. And if he grew up with that sort of mentality, I think that's such a great quality to have, and probably why he really pisses off everybody in DC, because he's got that mentality. Like, what?
Yeah, exactly. True. So, an interesting evening we've got planned. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of motion and moving parts. It's not going to be a normal show. We're going to be jumping back to, I guess, the next Trump event in just a little bit. We'll be taking those, interviews with Brian Glenn, who is embedded with the Trump campaign while they hit the road and go to the next event. In the meantime, though, we'll try to bring you as much as we can. Anything jump out at you today that is your big number one story there, Slick?
For me? Well, very interesting. There was a Philadelphia man who pled guilty to falsely accusing his fantasy football foe, a guy who was giving him a lot of competition, to planning terrorism attacks. I guess he would. Could you imagine how serious they take this stuff?
All right.
And so we'll see what happens. And Dan Campbell, the Lions coach, had to sell his suburban home amidst security. I guess they're not happy with how the Lions are playing so far this year in Detroit. But yeah, so I got to give you that story in a little bit as well.
All right.
And of course, we'll have the odds makers.
All right. And what about you, Vin? Anything jumping out at you?
So many things. Every day, it's like a new awakening of news, because you're getting a lot more leaks now that the election's getting close from folks on the left.
Right.
And this border official that talked to the Congress today and basically said they asked me not to talk and withhold information on the amount of terrorists and somewhat coming across the border. I know we'll probably talk about that during the show, but that jumped out at me because finally people are talking and they're saying what we already knew.
Yeah.
And the fact that you could sit back and say, we knew that was happening, and now someone's coming out and talking about it, I hope more and more people come out. There are more and more whistleblowers. But that particular story, it's a huge story. And who's covering it?
Yeah.
No one.
Nobody in the mainstream media.
Well, in the mainstream media, no one's covering it. We're covering it, and Fox probably's covered it, but nobody's talking about that across the board. It's not a small story.
No.
It's a huge story.
Yeah. And you know what's also a huge story? And this I got a little breaking news.
Oh,
I think I've got a little breaking news that I'm going to be sharing that you probably haven't heard anywhere else.
Okay.
Really? Because, believe it or not, it dawned on me today when the call came in. I can't talk about what else I do, but it gives me access to certain things. And
that's why you can't talk about what you do,
right? and it's not like some super. It's not that big a deal.
Oh yeah, it's a big deal.
It's just I don't want to get fired.
Yeah. Good save.
But the big rally yesterday at Nassau Coliseum.
Of course,
we covered it here on the show.
Yes.
Kevin Downey Jr., KDJ was over there.
Yeah.
He said he had a blast. It was awesome. I saw some of his videos that he posted.
Yeah, I think he's still stuck in traffic. Over there.
He's still stuck.
He should have been the opening act.
Yeah. And of course, the president shouting out Harry, which was, oh my God.
Looking for Harry.
That was insane.
Harry,
get
your ass out and vote, Harry.
If you haven't seen it yet, where have you been?
That's priceless.
President Trump actually calling out Harry Oates right there. I guess Harry must have been on a Barca lounger or something, like right in front of the stage, hanging out. But here he goes. Check this out.
I'd love to see this.
Harry, get up, Harry. Harry, get your fat ass out of the couch. You're going to vote for Trump today, Harry. Get up, Harry. Come on, let's go. Let's go, Harry.
God.
So yeah, the highlight of the rally.
Yeah, well, we find ourselves saying that sometimes here, don't we?
Right, exactly.
Sometimes.
Oh, my
Come on,
God.
Harry, get your fat ass up and make that phone call.
That is classic. Wow.
But also,
Call the locksmith.
remember how the story broke yesterday morning that there was a quote unquote bomb threat.
Yeah.
Right? And then they quickly tried to poo-poo it away. Oh, it was just somebody training a bomb-sniffing dog.
Yeah.
Of course, I probably one of the highest security places. Yeah, I'm going to go for a training
Let's do some training
exercise
there. Yeah.
with a brand new bomb-sniffing dog. Yeah, we believe that one. And then they tried to say, well, it was a misunderstanding or something, and they just tried to poo-poo it away like it really didn't happen. There wasn't a bomb. Don't worry about it. Just move along. Well, this morning. That's not what happened.
Really?
Because certain member, and I won't, share any of the, I'll just say from the
don't need to.
local precinct that covers that area of Nassau County, they were looking for some video
Wow.
from the day before.
Oh.
Now, why would they be looking for video from the day before all the way up until the time of the rally?
Maybe there's some credence to that.
Me thinks something may have gone on.
Yes.
And they've tried to poo-poo it, but the investigation continues.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out who this person was because they're looking at the 24 hours before the actual, I guess, suspected bomb was found.
I can understand not wanting to get folks in a panic.
Yes.
Yes.
And that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, common sense always tells you what the reality is, and common sense says to me that something probably happened. There's
Something
too much
probably
heat,
happened, yes.
too much heat on this guy right now.
Right, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Right, exactly. And usually when they're trying to deflect you away from something is because they don't want you to know, like Vin just said, something probably did happen. Now, is it exactly what we think happened? We're not sure. We don't know what they were looking for.
Right.
But they were looking for video of those areas and wondering if it was available. And fortunately, I guess, or unfortunately for us, we don't record. But they were actively searching out. So I could imagine, besides the phone call they made towards me and the people I work with, I'm sure they reached out to other businesses in that area.
Yeah.
And said, hey, do you have a video camera? We'd like to see whatever footage you may have recorded in the past 24 hours. Because they specifically mentioned, because yesterday was the 18th. They specifically mentioned the 17th. So,
And they did a sweep of the parking lot the night before on the 17th. They emptied the whole parking lot, had to be emptied by 8 p.m.
Right.
And they swept the whole lot, which means they would have checked for everything.
that means
so that's
that
even more
sometime
peculiar.
after the sweep and to the time that they found it, something went down.
Yeah, something went down.
So,
on the 17th.
I kind of woke up last night in the middle of the night because a lot of this stuff about Trump possibly, it being in danger all the time, and to me, the danger, it just gets worse every day, right? I feel like every day there's it might have been a 2% chance a week ago and a 5% chance a month, then 10%. I'm really scared. I'm really nervous for the guy. I'm nervous for the country. I would be nervous if it were Biden or anybody else if the president were shot. But this guy's trying to do so many good things, and I'm just nervous that the heat is getting almost too hot in the kitchen.
yeah, because all of a sudden now it's kind of a sprint to election day, right?
Keep
We're
them
under
safe
50 days.
and sprint.
Some voting has already started around the country, and as you're saying, it's getting late in the game. And I feel like desperate people do desperate things.
Exactly.
And they will.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll do some sports odds makers. We'll get a Thursday night pick from the kids and see what's going down. We'll also do some news and more with you live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Thursday night. Stay there.
That totally made my night. Oh my God.
We're running with that one. Yes.
Yeah.
So we're live in the socials, right? See. And that was Erin commenting that we are live in the socials. See.
All right, update on tonight. Hold on. All right, so Trump finished his first event. He's on his way to the second one. We have Brian Glenn with him, but his signal isn't great, so we're trying to get some video from him in the motorcade.
Okay.
And
Where
then
is he going to?
He is going over right now to the Israeli-American Council National Summit.
In D.C.?
I believe so, yes. Yes. And we may go to that before he arrives, depending who else is speaking. Right now, they're, I think, in break. They just did the national anthem.
Okay. All right.
We're running a video.
All All right, so there you have it.
I love the fact that he is running around, doing these Israeli events. You don't see anyone from the administration paying any attention to any of this stuff.
Well, they're kind of anti-Semitic.
Casey Buck in the Getter chat. Yeah, Casey Buck in the Getter chat wants to know, Delgado, do you moonlight as CIA?
No, I do not.
Right, there's no intelligence.
No.
Not at all.
He can't
Central
admit to that.
or otherwise.
Not on the central part, not on the left part, not on the right part. Zero.
You're in the FBI, forever being ignorant, right?
I can't talk about those things on the air.
Ooh, did I say that?
You did.
Okay. Ving, will you stop my cough?
Shout out to my friend Greg who's watching. Greg, send me some comments here. I want to know what you're thinking. He gives me insight. We had dinner last night. I get insight from him on various topics.
Nice.
Between having chicken franchise and linguine.
I was going to say, where was the dinner?
Clams.
You have dinner in Manhattan or anywhere good, or where'd you have dinner?
No, in Huntington.
Oh, Huntington's nice. There's some nice places.
That's good. Good little Italian place.
Getting into the Rumble chat, saying howdy to the Rumblers. Let me jump over to the X chat. The X chat. Twitter, the Twixers. All right, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Thursday night. If you're just joining us, a lot of moving parts happening tonight, including with Damon. He's going to be hopefully joining us in just a little bit. In the meantime, though, Donald Trump just finished speaking at one event. He is now on his way to another event, I guess down in D.C. It's called the Israeli American Council National Summit that is happening in D.C. Brian Glenn from Real America's Voice is embedded with the Trump campaign, I guess, in the motorcade. So we're trying to coordinate and get hooked up with him, see what's going on the ground there in the meantime. So we'll try and effort that. In the meantime, it is a Thursday night, which means sports, NFL Thursday, a game that is just getting kicked off. Let's go to our sports guy, and let's do some sports with Slick Rick. Let's do our Thursday night odds makers pick with Aaron and, of course, Slick. Let's take it away. Brought to you by Mike Lindell's MyPillow. Making sure you use our code LFS6B at checkout and save yourself a ton of money on some great stuff. Slick Rick Sports, what do you got, my friend?
All right, Rick. Well, thank you for that. We got Thursday Night Football, TNF on Prime TV, and it's on Fox in New York, of course, if you want to watch locally, because they can't black out the games, thankfully, for the poor New York fans. But we're at the Meadowlands tonight, and it's at Met Get a Life Stadium. I love to affectionately call it Get a Life because they wasted a lot of money on that stadium, I'll tell you that. And we got the Jets. Come on. Jets are favored by 6.5 points to beat the Patriots. Both 1-1. Great AFC East matchup. Aaron Rodgers' first game, well, hopefully first full game as a Jet. Of course, last time he opened up here, he didn't do too well. Yep, Aaron. And there's Aaron. And Aaron, we're going to get your pick first, girl. I have a feeling I know where you're going. I saw you with that green Jet jersey
if you couldn't tell by the shirt and the hair clip, I'm going with the Patriots. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I'm going to go with the Jets, obviously. Like you said, Slick, they're coming home to a fired-up crowd ready to see Aaron Rodgers do his first full game at MetLife as a Jet. Hopefully, first full game. But I think they're going to be prepared, even though they're coming off 2 short weeks. It's 3 games in 11 days. Not easy to do. But the Patriots O-line's not looking too good. 2 people out and 2 people were questionable. I did not get a status before the game started on those 2. But I think the atmosphere might be a little much for the Patriots, and I know that the Jets defense is a little shaky right now with Jermaine Johnson out for the season with a torn Achilles, something that we're very familiar with. And no Hassan Reddick still, but the guys will pull out the win. I think they won last week by a touchdown, and I don't think that we'll see anything different this week.
Yes, they did beat Tennessee. I believe it was 24-17 last week.
Yep, 24-17.
But Jets look good. They're moving the ball, Aaron. They just moved it down to the 42-yard line of the Patriots. They're on the move. Aaron Rodgers with 2 good passes picked up about 25 yards. So, yeah, I like the Jets too, but I'm going to take the Patriots. I have a feeling Jacoby Brissett, the quarterback, is going to have a good night. I think Brissett is going to do better than the brisket at the tailgate party just outside the stadium. So give me Jacoby Brissett. Give me the Patriots. New coach there, Mayo. We'll see how he does. Of course, the great Bill Belichick now is in retirement. Here we go. Deep pass, long pass, and no touchdown there. Okay, but flag. They might have the ball on the 1. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Patriots. And this line moved to 6.5. Opened up at 6, but they just slid to 6.5. So I'll take them 6.5. And what am I? I'm 5-8 right now, Aaron. And and you're what? 6-7.
6 and 7. Correct.
Okay, good. So that's the odds makers, Rick. Can I get into some other sports? We got a little time for some other sports?
Of course.
All right. Well, let's get into the story about Dan Campbell that I teased a little bit earlier. That'd be the Lions head coach, Dan Campbell, former Dallas Cowboy, by the way. But Lions coach Dan Campbell sells suburban Detroit home amid security concerns. Dylan Gwynn of Breitbart Sports. Losing forces people to make changes. If you are an NFL coach, it could even force you to move. Lions coach Dan Campbell told reporter Nick Maines that he was forced to sell his home in suburban Detroit because fans showed up on the property. It is a most reluctant sale. Campbell listed several details about the property that revealed his attachment to the home, the neighborhood, everything Campbell told Maines about the property's finer points. There's plenty of space. It's on 2 acres. The home is beautiful. It's just that people figured out where we lived and we lost. The story really is a shame, not just on the human level of a coach's family having their peace disturbed by unruly fans, but also because of Campbell's success in Detroit. Last season, he guided the Lions to their first playoff win in 32 years. One would think that such a feat would buy Campbell a degree of security and peace. Instead, his successes seem to have emboldened angry fans when his team loses. It shouldn't be that way. The home is listed at $4.5 million. If you're interested, Vin.
Thank you.
I don't know about Detroit, but they got some nice lakes there. I think.
They take my crypto because I'll be happy to give them some of my crypto if it's possible.
Yeah, so kind of crazy story there, Rick. But then we got another good story here. Philadelphia man pleads guilty to falsely accusing fantasy football rival of planning 2 terror attacks. That's pretty serious stuff. This is Orr Hawkins of Breitbart.
Real or fantasy?
Fantasy, absolutely. 25-year-old Matthew Gabriel of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, pleaded guilty on Wednesday to 2 counts of giving law enforcement false terror tips against his fantasy football rival. According to the Daily Mail on August 3rd, 2023, Gabriel falsely tipped police that his rival was planning a shooting in Norway in which he would take as many as they can at a concert and then head to a department store. The false threat report was made to Norway authorities because Gabriel's rival was studying abroad. A 900-hour investigation was launched and ended after Gabriel admitted that the threat was not real. Then earlier in 2024, Gabriel tipped police to a threat against the University of Iowa, the great state of Iowa, claiming his rival wanted to blow the school up. United States Attorney Jacqueline C. Romero was bewildered by Gabriel's second false tip as it was made while he was already being prosecuted for the first false tip. NBC noted Gabriel could face up to 5 years behind bars. So he wanted to get his fantasy football rival out so he could make picks while this guy was in jail. I mean, that's really going a long range. That was a 25-year-old kid. I mean, you have a little more common sense than that. So anyway, that's what I got for the first segment of sports. That's a wrap.
All right. Thank you. Right. And once again, Slick Rick Sports brought to you by Mike Lindell's MyPillow. Go to MyPillow.com. Use our code LFS6B at checkout and save yourself a ton of money. We got an update on the game. Are they moving? What's going on real quick? Anything?
They just punted.
They just punted.
The Jets did.
It's over.
The Jets punted, baby, with a holding call. Hold the operation.
Facebook battles? Have you had any Facebook battles
No
recently?
Facebook battles today.
I had a couple.
You had a couple?
Can I talk about them?
Sure. Okay. So what do we talk when you're talking about a Facebook battle? Is it something that you post, Vin, and then somebody chimes in, and that's when it starts, and it's usually the case because I don't post really anything on Facebook.
Yeah, you're not an instigator.
Well, yeah, of course not. But I stopped posting on Facebook a while ago. But I see the feed, and the feed always comes through, and there are things that just, when you see it, and it's usually the same people. It's like, this person's such an idiot. I have to point out what an idiot they are, just so I can make them feel terrible about themselves.
It is mostly the same people, and you know what? I do post. I mean,
Okay.
I poked the bear, so I freely admit that. And recently, though, when I was poking the bear, a lot of the angst coming back at me was like, Trump lied about this. Trump lies about all this. He exaggerates. He lies. It's not 1 million. It's 900,000. And it reminded me of a conversation I had with a friend of mine, and he basically pointed out the following, and it made so much sense to me. First off, Trump's not a politician.
Right.
Everybody knows that, but you forget that sometimes because he's been in the public eye here and in politics since 2015. He's a real estate developer. All of us have bought real estate at some point, right? We've looked at real estate, maybe, a timeshare.
Of course.
And how do developers and real estate people communicate what they have? Well, it's the best view you could possibly get.
Right.
This is made of the finest porcelain. These toilets are imported from Italy. You can't get these anymore.
Right.
The tile, they're all the best, the greatest. That's how they talk. That's how they pitch.
Right. They're
That's
salesmen.
what this guy's done. Exactly.
Right.
That's what he's done his whole life. You remember when Trump Tower went up and other properties, and even the golf courses he put up, here and in Ireland. He's, this is the best golf course in the world, And if you think about that for a second, that's the mentality.
Nothing
so
wrong
he's
with
that
that.
guy. When he talks about something, it's it's the best result.
It's the hype.
Yeah, it's marketing.
It is, and
because
it's
he's
in
trying
his
to make a
DNA.
sale.
It's exactly
Right, he's trying to make the sale. If he goes,
That's it.
well,
Part of
it's
the
an
deal.
okay property, you'd be like, oh, okay. You're not going to be excited about it. But if he says, it's the best with the best view, it's got the best this, it's got the best that.
that's
you're
how
like,
businessmen operate, though.
That's right.
I guess. I guess,
wait, there's
I guess
more.
I should look at it.
I've been doing that my whole life. My God.
Exactly.
They call it vinflation. Okay, when I take it to the next level, vinflation is a little markup here.
All
and
right,
there.
so we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll see if we get an update from Brian Glenn. In the meantime, we'll come back. We'll do some news right here, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice. Stay there. And we're back in the chat. Let's see. I said hello to the Rumblers. I got to go over to the Twixers because I didn't have a chance to sign in.
Yep. I was trying to get into the YouTube, but I didn't.
You couldn't get to YouTube.
I didn't see the YouTube. I got to go back and see if.
It drives me crazy though when people criticize him that way.
Oh, there it is.
because
Okay,
he's a
I got
business
it. I
guy.
got the YouTube now.
He's making things seem like like any business guy would. And you had pharmacies and stuff
Yep.
like that. I bet you your stuff was the best, the best
The
compounded,
best
stuff in the
service,
world.
best drugs. What are you kidding me? We had the best drugs.
Yeah, I had the best drugs in the world. Right? I mean,
Slick had his own cartel.
Yeah, essentially I did.
but it's pride of ownership. It's what businessmen do. And if you're the president of the United States, it's just like Ronald Reagan did it.
Oh, he was great.
Don't you want people to feel great about our country?
yeah, of
This is the
course.
greatest country in the world, and I don't think there's any dispute about that. That's not an exaggeration.
Right.
But we want to feel like it is the greatest country. We have the greatest product. You remember those years where things were coming in from overseas and our products weren't that good? Our cars
Oh
and all
my
that?
God, the Chrysler K car. What a disaster!
Oh
Right.
man,
Remember
Lee
that?
Iacocca.
But that was depressing for all of us.
Yeah.
What's not just the cars weren't bad. It's like as an American, you were like, we're making crappy cars. Oh, yeah, that sucks. We suck. But the reality is we're great. We can make a great car. And that's the kind of leader you need, where everything feels like
Yes.
it's great.
Yes, I agree with that. 100%.
We need Tony the Tiger.
Roar.
Wow, he's great.
I did not know that.
So good stuff.
I do two impressions, basically, Johnny Carson and Ronald Reagan. So that's basically it. That's my repertoire.
And it's Johnny Carson doing Ronald Reagan.
Two 80s icons.
Well, there you go again. I think I do the Dana Carvey, Johnny Carson.
Right.
Okay, that works.
weird, wacky stuff there.
Yeah, my best impressions are of other people's impressions doing the impression.
Yeah. I used to do someone that you have to be like 60 or older to know who he is, but Tom Schneider from the Tomorrow Show. Do you remember Tom Schneider?
I remember him.
I was a little too young for
I
that.
do remember him.
Wait. You might have been. You might have been. He was a.
It was that 3-4 year window that you would have lost a lot of stuff
Yeah.
Okay.
in the 60s if you were born in the.
That's his
in the
secret
60s.
job
Okay.
where he might have to blank out
Like
his
you've
memory.
got it ready to go? Okay. And how long is it? So I guess talk over it. And what is it again? Live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Thursday night. Welcome to the program. Slick Rick is here. He's got sports. Of course, Thursday Night Football is underway. We'll get an update from him in just a little bit for that game between the Jets and the Patriots. And Vin Buddha's here as well, sitting in. Damon, supposed to be joining us in just a little while. We'll see when and where it could possibly happen. But as I mentioned, we've got a lot of things happening tonight with President Trump. He just finished one speech. He's on his way. He's in his motorcade heading off to the Israeli-American Council National Summit. That is down in D.C. And we've got Brian Glenn, who you met in long form the other night right here on the show, is now a great friend of the show. He's embedded with the Trump campaign.
That's fantastic.
He's in one of the cars, I guess. I don't know if there he is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And basically, this is them. They are en route to the next location for Trump's next speech.
How cool is that?
Yeah, let's run some red lights. Come on.
Nice. We were just with Brian Tuesday night. Amazing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, he was a blast.
Maybe he'll tell the president he's got to come visit us.
Right. See, Brian, if you're listening, there you go.
There you go. Brian had fun.
Oh, hint, hint.
Yeah, we'll have a blast with the president.
Forget about Harry. Come in here, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Harry's off the couch.
Harry's got to get his fat ass off the couch. But yeah, so that is what Brian is doing right now. Again, he's embedded with the Trump campaign as they make their way to the next location. As you can see, they've got the roads kind of all shut down as his motorcade is making its way through D.C., heading off to the next location. And when he starts to speak, when he gets there, I guess we'll be taking that live. And if there are any speakers of note that we want to make sure we cover, we'll pop them up as well, so you guys can enjoy that. So there you have it. Brian Glenn checking in. Look at that. He's got some more stuff. Hopefully we'll get him live in the motorcade, and we'll definitely have a chat with him and see how it's going. In the meantime, though, Slick, what is going on your Thursday night pick? I saw there was a couple punts already.
Back and forth. They're trading. Each team had a bite at the ball. Jets now have their second possession. There's no score. 7:55 to go. Jets have the ball on like the 38-39, their own 38-39 in their zone. They're trying to make some inroads here. So we'll see what happens. Jets, it was a holding call that kind of, held them back, so to speak, right? And they had to punt the ball into the end zone, and then Brissett didn't have any good brisket, so he didn't really do too well there. So we'll see. Might be a defensive battle tonight.
All right.
Just might be. Jets have a good defense.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, and we'll keep tabs on the game in the meantime. In the break, Vin was talking about the state, the mental state, I want to say, of the country. Yeah. Because, and that's something, that I'm a firm believer in, is the leader, the president, is going to set the tone. So if you got somebody that's inspiring, like a Ronald Reagan or a President Trump, you notice that part of the equation to how the country is doing is a lot of it is mental, believe it or not. Because let's face it, if you feel good about somebody and they make you feel good, that kind of starts to spread. And I think that's what we've been lacking. We lacked it with Obama. Why? Because he was kind of a down, kind of a D-bag when it came down to it. He didn't elevate. He didn't feel like we were elevated.
No. It was always something was wrong with something.
Right.
Talked down, yeah.
Like I remember after he got inaugurated, he did his apology tour.
Yeah. Oh.
Right? Where he went around the Middle East and basically apologized for us being who we are.
That was a big mistake.
Yeah. So we had that to deal with. And then, of course, now we've had the last 3.5 years with a brain dead.
It's been the biggest downer we've had.
Yeah.
It's like any business. And we are all in business in various functions. If you work in Dunkin' Donuts and your manager is a positive that was the best. That was a great coffee. I love the way you handled that. Inspiring, positive. You work harder because you want that accolade.
Right.
And it's one of the reasons, Steve Jobs has a bad reputation of treating people poorly. But what he did do well is his innovation made everyone proud to work at Apple. And he kind of led through a different type of positive energy in a sense. Right. And any great businessman who's a great leader like that, sometimes you don't need to be the smartest guy in the room.
Right.
You need to be the most inspirational guy in the room.
Yes.
And as a president and a senator, I'd put this on any politician. That's why I love when Trump goes somewhere and he thanks, somebody who did something that was a small thing, and he goes out of his way to thank them. And he does this over and over. Would you do that? You would. Like, I would.
Yeah.
You feel proud. You're like, wow.
Well, I think
love that.
I think part of it is you want to be a good boss. Like if you're in charge of a group or a business or what have you, you don't want to be. You want people to come there to work, right?
Yeah.
And as
You
an
wanna have that
employee,
culture.
right? As an employee, you want to be happy at work. It may not be your be all end all job. It may not be where you see yourself in 5 or 10 years. But while you're there, you don't want to dread it. And I feel like that's what we've been suffering since 2021 on January the 20th. Is just suffering through these. We've just been just dragging ourselves through these last 3.5, 4 years to get to the good part.
Yeah.
And we hope the good part is going to start on November 5th.
Yeah. I agree totally. And people have criticized Trump for attacking negatively a lot of the things that have happened. But on the other hand, he's always saying something positive about this country and about our military and the Secret Service agents that worked with him, or all of these other things. Positive energy in life gets us motivated.
Yeah.
No matter what you do in life. And you need a president to do that. Reagan, I loved Ronald Reagan. I got to meet him. Right. I was an escort for his wife when I was in college. They got an honorary degree. I met him and Nancy, and he was funny, but he was engaging funny. Like he wanted to talk to me. And then he thanked, very people that weren't part of his entourage and so on. Mm-hmm. And I was like so proud. As I would think I was 21 years old. I was so proud because I'm like, I feel great about this country.
Right.
And then when he talked tough, with Russia, and take down that wall, you're like, absolutely.
That's right.
Take that wall. That's where I like Trump, and I think that's what we need as a country badly.
Right.
I can't see Kamala doing that.
No.
If she wins, I can't see that.
No.
We're going to be depressed for 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be a constant.
Did you hear the news about Israel today?
What part?
The breakdown of the peace talks and all that. They're not going to even go to the table till after the election.
No, I didn't hear.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It broke. So Trump's out talking to Jewish groups and Israeli groups, right, tonight? To two groups tonight, right, I think?
Yep.
Yeah.
The talks are off. Why are they off? Because they don't know how to make a deal. They don't know how to do this. Because when you're weak, you don't resolve anything.
Well, when you're weak and when you hate the people that you're supposed to be aligned with, that kind of doesn't give you that inspiration to do anything.
Why?
Why would you? Because you hate them.
Exactly. Why would you settle it? Israel went into Lebanon today. There's a lot going on with this thing. It is enormously dangerous for all of us. But they can't resolve it. They don't have the people to do it. And that's why when Trump makes a comment like, I'll have this thing resolved, because he knows how to settle stuff.
Right.
And if you don't settle, all right, we're going in.
Yeah. And getting back to the mental state of the country, that's why they measure consumer sentiment. Mm-hmm. Because if the consumer feels good about going out and spending money, guess what? The mood of the country follows. Sure. Everything seems to follow. If you feel like crap, chances are you're gonna mope around, and people around you are gonna be like, "Oh, I guess I feel like crap."
That's exactly right. It's how it works.
Yeah,
I don't care if you're personal training or if you're working for a business or you're a politician.
Yeah. Now, things must be going badly for the Harris campaign because every time they seem to send her out there, things don't go too well. Here's a clip that I came across. I'm not even sure when this happened. I think it's a slightly older clip, but this is the type of person you're dealing with, and these stories about Kamala or whatever her stupid name is.
Kamala.
Right.
Kamala la 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 la.
Right. Merry Christmas. Is that she's a terrible person. She's on par with Hillary Clinton. Now, Hillary Clinton was a different level from what I understand. She was just a miserable horrible person to be around. Kamala seems to be that same type. She's in that mold.
Hang on, Hillary, come on in. We'll have you sit down for a little discussion here. Oh, she's not here.
And I don't know if you saw the clip, and I didn't send it, unfortunately, the clip of her leaving the National Black Journalists Association interview that she did. And you could just see it on her face. She didn't want to be there.
Oh.
The interviewers, you could see it on their face when they shook her hand and she left. They looked at each other like, what the hell was that? It was like, that's not bad. That's terrible.
Even they were like, when she went into I grew up in a middle class family. They're like, Miss Vice President, she's trying to get the question in. You have to think we're all normal human beings. Even if you're far left liberal journalist, you have to think when they talk to her, when she leaves and they're off the air, they got to be like, what was that?
Right.
Yeah. Oh my God. What did she say?
And so here's a little piece of Kamala. This is cut number 2, and it's these types of things that I guess she is. This is how she comes across. Where I don't know, man. She is just not a likable person, I guess. I mean, just watch this and see it for yourself. Here's cut number 2. Kamala talking about being the only member of the role model club. She's a role model,
Oh, get out of here.
Check this out.
I was the first person to be a woman Attorney General of California. I was the first woman to be elected District Attorney of San Francisco. I was the first person of color to be elected Attorney General of California. Whatever. First. Welcome to the Role Model Club. It's tough.
Yeah. Crickets. Yeah.
Being a part of the Role Model Club means being in a room where sometimes you may be the only person who has had the experiences you've had.
Oh my God.
Wow. She sounds nervous, that voice.
But you can see when she says that she's part of the Role Model Club, she was waiting for a laugh, and she didn't get it.
No.
Because people are like, ugh.
A laugh or an applause.
Right.
Like something.
She just got the ugh face from people.
People they're figuring her out. They're figuring her out. They have, if they haven't already.
Yeah, exactly.
She's a painful public speaker.
Painful is an understatement. You're right. Painful.
Yeah. And even Dana Bash on CNN is cut number 1.
This
is something you got to... Oh, we don't have time for it? Anyhow, so I'll play that next.
Even Dana's appalled, okay?
But even she makes comments, and I'll play that clip in just a little bit, about, the Kamala Harris we get to see.
Yeah, well, she grew up in a middle-class family.
Right.
With a nice one.
She knew that. You knew that, right? Yes.
And she smoked it.
And of course, we all know one of the best spokespeople for Kamala Harris is Nancy Pelosi, who was out. And I don't know if you caught this.
Oh, no.
This was interesting. Cut number 7, where she's talking about how the Democrats, they didn't just select Kamala Harris. There was an open primary, Slick. I bet you didn't know that.
No.
And Kamala won.
I
so
did not
check
know
this
that.
out. This is cut number 7.
You had reportedly said you wanted a sort of an open primary if Joe Biden stepped down. Did you change your mind because you saw all the excitement around Kamala Harris?
No, I didn't change my mind. We had an open primary and she won it. Nobody else got in the race because she was politically astute.
Yeah. And you can see the crowd they just start slowly the seal clap I guess she did win. Yeah, that's exactly what we told you to say. That's what we told you to think. Just do what we tell you to think, and this is what to believe.
It's what Pelosi really does all the time.
Yeah.
Just say it again.
Right.
Say it again. You'll cover it, and people will believe it.
It's the wrap-up smear.
It's the wrap-up smear.
That's what she calls it.
Nailed that. Perfect.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We get back, we'll see about what's going on with Brian Glenn. We'll get an update in sports on the Thursday night game, and we'll do some more news right here, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice. Stay there.
The Jets scored.
Yeah, the Lizard scored.
Did they?
Wow.
Oh.
It is insulting to all of us, though, when Nancy Pelosi says stuff like that. It's just insulting to me just as a person. Forget about it, right or left. Just, and the fact that they're not called out on a lie that blatant. I mean, it's it just goes to show you that how much they're pulling the rug over us.
Trying to, at least.
Well, if you think about half the country, the rug's been pulled over.
Yeah.
And then you see a comment like that. How do you not snap out of it?
Yeah.
Some people are, by the way.
Hey, Aaron, cut number 3, is that testimony? I forget. That's all right.
It's that throw he had him.
They actually look pretty good.
Yeah, New England, you could see their offensive line is.
We have no idea who and what entered our country over this time. Throughout 2022 and 23.
Okay. All right, cool.
The Jets look very good. Their offense looks like it's flowing.
Yeah, they moved the ball.
Maybe they needed to get that one game out of the way. The first game they really didn't.
That was a tough game. I don't think anybody could have anticipated them beating San Francisco that first game anyway.
No, but they had no flow.
Yeah, they have a
Jets
have an easy schedule this year. This offensive line is a problem for the Patriots. Oh, flag. It's got to be on the Patriots. Probably a hold. Hold on for life. Yeah.
Yep, I got it. Cool.
Heard anything from Brian yet? No.
Nope.
I'm sure.
I just saw this great photo. It says, it's with Netanyahu. It says, is Israel behind the exploding pagers? Netanyahu. So I was raised in a middle-class family. Love it.
We had doctors and nurses that lived in our neighborhood.
We had nice lawns.
My mother.
We had nice lawn.
We didn't get a house till I was a teenager. She worked hard working. Then I worked at McDonald's, or so I'm telling you. I didn't actually.
Ronald McDonald was calling fraud on that.
She didn't work at McDonald's. She didn't know half the stuff she said.
She didn't even know Wendy. What are you talking about?
Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Thursday night. Thank you for joining us. We'll be taking Donald Trump's next visit. He's making his way to the Israeli-American Council National Summit in D.C., and once he starts speaking, we'll be going there live. In the meantime, you got Showtime with Slick Rick doing some sports, and of course, Vin sitting in as well. We were talking about the vice president, Kamala Harris, who might not be vice president for long. I think that could be one of the October surprises, one of the many where they elevate
you've been calling that. You've been calling that for a while now.
I know. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, interesting.
In the meantime, though, we were talking about this again. How the veneer is coming off the painting here, and it seems like it's coming from all different angles, especially CNN. I feel like CNN, I don't know if they're just trying to do this for their own survival, trying to put some distance between MSNBC and them and try to find if there's anybody who might still believe
it's
the
smart
crap that they put.
On their part.
Yeah, it is. Where they're more critical now, it seems, of the current administration. But here's CNN's Dana Bash, who is no friend to the right, believe me, suggesting the Kamala drinking game. When it comes to saying some of the things that she says. Here's cut number 1. Check this out.
When you listen to Kamala Harris and what she will do, you can almost start a drinking game every time she says small businesses. Mm-hmm. Let me give you an example.
Part of my plan under my economic opportunity plan going forward is that right now, startup entrepreneurs, small businesses only get a tax deduction of $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. So I'm expanding that to $50,000. Understanding, again, that when people have the opportunity to have the resources to get started, they're going to put the good ideas, they're going to put the hard work into it.
Describe the politics of that.
She says that. She also talks about being a middle-class kid. That's also at the front of her answers. If you look at the interviews they've been doing with local media, they've opened up a bit more since the debate. The first question is often, what are you going to do to lower prices? Which is a very hard question for an incumbent party to answer. And it has implications that are very Trumpian. It is, Trump says he's going to do mass deportation. That'll decrease demand. Trump says he'll explore more energy. That'll decrease energy costs. Democrats can point to the fact that inflation is actually, it was bad 2 years ago. It's not now. What people want to hear is, how do you make the prices go down? So everything she says is something realistic that could survive a fact check that answers a very hard question. There is not a plan to say that we're going to lower the cost of your grocery bill to what it was in 2019. There was a pandemic. There was a money supply inflation. You can't hit the button that makes that go away. But Trump has an answer that gets him through these questions. And Harris, I think, with a different set of incentives and a different relationship to something she can back up in a policy paper, she doesn't have an answer. So she goes to a larger, well, imagine a future where there are more businesses and this starts to ameliorate.
Right. So there you have it. People openly questioning or basically calling out the fact that she's really just, it's just hot air, because it's not grounded in anything that you can put your finger on and go, okay, I could see how that could work.
It's really just sort of soundbite answer. $50,000 tax break.
Ooh,
Done.
That sounds nice.
We're going to unrealized tax on your unrealized gains, taxing your unrealized gains, right?
But only millionaires and billionaires, man.
Taking the family credit higher. A lot of these things actually don't put cash in anybody's pocket. A tax break is great if you're making a lot of money.
Right.
It doesn't put cash in your coffer to go fund your business. It does not do that. That's just fake. But I think she's got a couple of sound bites, including that she grew up in a middle-class family. In case anybody's not paying attention, she did. She grew up in a middle-class family. But she has these sound bites. They play them, and now at least she's being called out on some of that stuff.
Yeah, which is good to see. And this one, you talk about bringing down prices. That was the crux of a lot of what they talked about there. Here is a woman asking Donald Trump the other night how he will bring down prices. Check out the difference in answers. Here's cut number 4. Again, a woman asking Trump how he's going to bring down prices. Cut number 4.
Good evening, President Trump. Thank you for taking our question. Thank you. My name is Barbara. I'm a mom of 3, a grandmother of 7, and 3 great-grands, a registered nurse, retired nurse. So I know the cost that goes into raising children and running a household. Yeah. People just can't survive now. How are you going to bring down the cost of food and groceries?
Good. Very good. Thank you.
Now check out this answer.
So we have to start always with energy. Always. I don't want to be boring about it, but there's no bigger subject. It covers everything. If you make donuts, if you make cars, whatever you make, energy is a big deal. And we're going to get that. It's my ambition to get your energy bill within 12 months down 50%. If I can do that, you've done a hell of a job. 50, not 15, 50.
Yeah,
I love this guy.
And he's so dead on. It's something that I mentioned months ago. Is that what it seems to be the basis of everything is energy, because energy, like he said, it goes into everything. You want to make a pen, you're going to need energy to do it. You need workers, they're going to need energy to get to and from work. You want to get food, it's going to take energy to get that food from production to the store. If you want to go buy that food, you got to spend energy to go get that food. Energy is everything. So if he can start with that and get it down, like he said, 50%, man, that's a big first step.
That's big. Energy and regulation.
Yes.
So if you make it a little easier to move things around, it's less expensive.
Yeah.
And the energy is the key thing. And this is not a difficult question. No. This is quite simple.
Yeah.
If you've done anything in life and ever bought and sold a product, you know what costs go into that. And when your cost to if you drive an Uber, Uber went up like 30%. Okay, why? Because gas went up.
Yeah.
Doubled. This is one thing after another. It's just so obvious. And that's what is painful about the answers from the left. The solution is obvious.
Yeah. But their answers aren't. Let's do some quick sports before the top of the hour. Let's go to Slick Rick. Slick Rick Sports brought to you by Mike Lindell's MyPillow. Use our code LFS6B at checkout. Slick, what's going on?
Oh, Trump is out.
Oh, wait, we got to cut into Slick. Looks like Donald Trump has arrived at the Israeli-American Council National Summit in D.C. Let's go there now as he walks out to the stage.
Thank you very much, everybody. I figured you would listen to the whole song. But let's get down to business, right? Let's get down to business. And I want to thank Miriam. This is a great woman, a really great woman who loves Israel, loves the Jewish people. And she's really a special person, so I very much appreciate that she was here to introduce. Thanks also to the Israeli-American Council, the CEO, my former special envoy to combat anti-Semitism, who did a phenomenal job. Where is Mr. Carr? He's around here someplace. Where is he? Great job. Great job. Thank you very much. Co-chairs Avi Almozlino and Tal Schuster. Thank you. We have the honor of having a very powerful man with us right now. He's the Speaker of the House, and he's really doing a good job. Mike Johnson. Mike. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. And one of the very top people in Congress, she's like a rocket ship. She's going up so fast. She totally destroyed the president of Harvard, you saw, with the big glasses, those big glasses. She asked her a simple question, and that was the end. She didn't get a very good answer. Actually, sounded a little bit like Kamala. Yeah. But a really special person doing a phenomenal job in Congress, Elise Stefanik. That's a pretty good hand. They jumped up. What was that all about, Elise? That's pretty impressive. Ambassador Michael Herzog. Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. A friend of mine, a great lawyer, and his beautiful wife is with him, Alan Dershowitz. Very, very nice. Thank you, Alan. And many other very distinguished guests. I have so many that I can't call because we don't have enough time. We're on television, we're all over the place, and I'm supposed to be calling out names that nobody ever heard of, so we won't do that. But please know that we love you all, including congressmen and senators that are here. We have a lot of them. Thank you. Thank you very much. Before we begin, I just want to mention some polls that just came out. They just came out. Remember in the old days, I used to call the polls because the fake news would never do it. I said, if I don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. Highly respected Rasmussen poll, one of the most respected polls. According to the Rasmussen, just out a little while ago, we're leading by 8 points, 52 to 44. 8 points. And they were that's national, and they were very accurate the last time, so a lot of respect for Rasmussen. And they also have us up 11 with independents. That's pretty good. The Emerson poll came out, another good one, highly respected. We're up in Arizona, we're up in Wisconsin, we're up in Pennsylvania, 3 states so far. Oh, I don't believe this, I don't believe it. Even the New York Times has us way up in the Midwest. Can you believe that? Oh, that was painful for them to say. We're 9 up in the Midwest, that's very good. And the Atlanta Journal-Constitution has us 3 up in Georgia, that's good, that's good. And CNN, can you believe this, has us? They did Arizona, 5 up in Arizona, so we're doing well. Daily Express, we're 5 up nationally, in the battleground states. So 47 days from now, we're going to defeat Kamala Harris. We're going to take back our country, and we're going to, quite simply, make America great again, right? We're gathered tonight to talk about the sacred bond between the United States and Israel, and it's a bond that's in serious trouble. There's never been anything like it. I believe that We are closer to World War III than at any time in the history of this country since the Second World War. There's never been anything like this period of time that we're going through, and we have leaders that are grossly incompetent. They have no idea what's happening. In less than 3 weeks, we will mark the one-year anniversary of the deadliest attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. On October 7th, Hamas terrorists slaughtered more than 1,200 Israelis, including men, women, children, and even little beautiful babies. They tortured, wounded, kidnapped, and horribly maimed thousands more. What a horrible time. Unthinkable. Could not have happened if I was president. Would not have happened. You know that. Iran had no money. There was no money for terror. 28 terror organizations, including Hezbollah and Hamas, they had no money. There were lots of stories about it. We had no terrorism during the Trump administration. Remember that? Tonight we honor the memory of all who lost their lives in the October 7th attacks, and we pray to God that Israel will redeem their deaths with ultimate victory over those who wish to destroy it. And we're honored, thank you very much, and we're honored to be joined this evening by several of the victims of the October 7th attack, that horrible, horrible day. Former Hamas hostage Andrei Kozlov, who was recused. Andrei was rescued by the IDF after 8 months of very horrible captivity. I can imagine. Where's Andrei? Is Andrei here someplace? Yes? Yes? Come on up here, Andrei. He's got more courage than I have. Come on up here. Do you want to say something? And he wasn't exactly sure. Say something, Andrei.
I'm a little bit shy. I'm close to Trump, like I'm shy. What can I say? Thank you so much for this careness, and I really appreciate endlessly. Really, thank you.
Well done. We'll see you, man. Congratulations. You look beautiful.
Thank you so much.
He's a good-looking guy. Also with us is Dede Simchi, the father of Guy Simchi, who was murdered on October 7th. And I will tell you, that was just a horrible thing, and I've said hello. Could you please stand up? What a great gentleman to suffer like he's suffered. Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much. I appreciate it very much. Would you like to come up? We'd love to honor you. Would you like to come up? Come on up. Come on, in honor of your boy. In honor of your boy.
Thank you very much. I very, very appreciated what you are doing for Israel, what you did, and what you will done. I hope for. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great man. What they've had to endure. Also with us are the parents of several of the current hostages, and hopefully we're going to be getting them back very, very soon. Very, very soon. Thank you all for Thank you all for being here. Thank you very, very much. What you're going through is very hard to even understand how it could have happened in the first place. I'd like to ask you just to stand for a second, please, in honor of what we're all here for, because we're going to get them out. They're going to come out. Thank you all very much. That's a great group of people, and that's a lot of people, too. We're going to get them out. We're going to get them out. Thank you. Thank you very much for being with us, and we pray for you, and somehow it's going to work out. We're going to get it to work out. And this evening we repeat the vow that we have kept in our hearts since the terrible day in October. Never again, never again. This should never have ever happened. This should never have happened. Should never have happened. Weak leadership in the United States allowed this to happen, and it should never have happened. It would never have happened. It's so sad to see. 1 year after the horrific massacre, we are instead threatened with a different future, one in which October 7th happens again and again. We have to recognize it again and again. I'm here tonight to deliver an urgent warning to Jewish Americans and to every friend of Israel all around the world. And you have so many Christian friends. They love Israel. So important. I have so many Christian friends, and you know, when I first started running, I will tell you a story. Maybe I shouldn't, but I will. I was campaigning in 2015 in Iowa in a very Christian area, and there were about 6,000 people, and it was in a church, and they were very religious Christians. And the father, the minister, and a few others were there, and they said, "Sir, would you please say something great about Israel?" I said, "Say it again. Say it again." Because I didn't realize, you know, in the old days, it wasn't like this. He said, "If I say something good about Israel, that's not a positive for this particular group, is it?" "No, sir. If you say something good about Israel, they'll love you." I said, my, things have changed. How things have changed, right, Miriam? So I was a little bit circumspect, to put it mildly. And I went out there, and that place went wild because they liked me right from the beginning. I don't know why. A lot of people have bad taste, I guess. But they liked me right from the beginning. Then I said, we love Israel, and we will save Israel, and we will fight with Israel. And the place went wild. I said, what the hell is going on? They love Israel. I hate to say it. Sometimes they love Israel much more than Jewish people in New York love Israel. Alan Dershowitz knows that. They really do. It's an amazing thing, and that's when it really started, and it was incredible. But you have Christians and evangelical Christians. They love Israel so much, and it's great to see that. It's great to see it. If we continue down our current path with 4 more years of Kamala, and I don't say Harris because when I say Harris, nobody knows who the hell I'm talking about. I just said it to another group. You know, Miriam has me working hard here. I have this group, that group, but this is the big one, right, Miriam? This is the big one. But don't worry, I said that to the last group also. No, she's got me working hard. But it's sort of interesting when you look at what we're doing and how important a mission we're on. If we continue down our current path with 4 more years of Kamala, Israel will be faced not just with an attack, but with total annihilation. And I hate to say it so much. It's total annihilation. That's what you're talking about. You don't have a protector. You have a big protector in me. You don't have a protector on the other side. And I've said long and loud, anybody, and especially over the last few years, anybody who's Jewish and loves being Jewish and loves Israel is a fool if they vote for a Democrat. But beyond that, if they love Israel, anybody that votes for a Democrat or Kamala especially, because this is the worst ever. This is the worst you've ever had. This one makes Barack Hussein Obama look like he loved Israel by comparison. But you should have your head examined, because it will face an unceasing bloody war to obliterate the Jewish state and drive Jews out of the Holy Land. That's what they want to do. They want to drive Jews out of the Holy Land. And they are not forgiving people. You found that out on October 7th. By the way, when Trump was president, you had no problems, did you? None. You had no problems. You ever think of that? I wanted to tell Israel that numerous times during the presidency, but I didn't want to do that and then have something bad happen. But nothing bad was going to happen. They didn't have the money to prosecute the war. Nothing was going to happen. We had everything in check, beautifully in check. And by the way, Russia would have never attacked Ukraine either, just so you know. We wouldn't have had inflation. We wouldn't have had that horrible situation in Afghanistan, where we lost 13 great soldiers, where $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment that I bought, beautiful stuff. I bought and they gave it away. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And we wouldn't have that. We left American hostages behind. Remember that. All of that wouldn't have happened. Think of it. October 7th would have not happened. That wouldn't have happened. And we wouldn't have had inflation. It was started by a stupid oil policy and a spending policy. We would have never had inflation, which has destroyed many families. Let me spell out bluntly the danger of 4 more years of weakness in this White House. If Kamala is reelected, Iran will quickly obtain nuclear weapons. They're already about ready to do it, okay? And you know, they were so broke, and I'm not looking to hurt anybody, but they were broke. I had sanctions. Anybody that did any business with Iran could not do business with the United States. I told President Xi of China, if you do business with Iran, if you buy 1 barrel of oil from Iran, you're not doing any more business with the United States, and I'm going to put on tariffs of 200%. And China didn't buy anything. And other countries likewise, other countries. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. And Iran was ready to do something. They were ready to make a deal. They weren't spending the money because they didn't have the money to spend. And you didn't have a single strike. You had nothing happen during this period of time. It was a beautiful time. Not a single strike. Thank you very much. Thank you. So Iran will right now quickly obtain nuclear weapons capable of killing millions and millions of people. Jewish people, non-Jewish people. There's no discrimination with nuclear weapons, you know that. And the power is unbelievable. And I know because I renovated, fixed, and bought brand new nuclear weapons. We have the greatest nuclear stockpile now, but I hated to do it because the devastation is nothing. This will be Third World War if it happens, and we're relying on stupid people. If it happens, this will not be 2 army tanks going back and forth and shooting. This will be, again, obliteration. This could be world obliteration. And we have to get back to common sense, and we have to get back to good leaders that are respected by the other side. Our leaders are not respected by Russia. They're not respected by China. They're not respected by Kim Jong-un of North Korea. They're not respected, frankly, by anybody. From behind this nuclear shield, the regime will be free to unleash its militant terror brigades to turn the Jewish homeland into hell on earth. They've already started with October 7th. Rockets will rain down from above until the Iron Dome has been exhausted. You know, the Iron Dome is great, but when you send too many, there's not a thing it can do. It's exhausted. It becomes exhausted. They call it that. They want to exhaust, and they send up anything, they call it garbage into the air, let them keep sending their missiles up, and eventually they don't have any missiles to protect, and that's when it begins. We can't do that. Terrorist death squads will conduct constant raids into Israeli territory from all sides, going door to door and torturing, raping, kidnapping, and massacring innocent civilians. This is what it is, and you know that better than anybody because you've just seen it. A year ago, Tel Aviv and Jerusalem will become unlivable war zones as suicide attacks grind life to a halt. So, as president, I would look at a map of the Middle East, and I'd see a massive piece of land, and I'd see a little dot, just like this stage and that, right at the top. This would be Israel. And I said to Miriam, I said to Sheldon, I said to friends of mine, how can such a big piece of land, I mean, how could this be possible, where you have that little piece of land surrounded by massive numbers of people and soldiers, big armies. Iran has a big army. Big mistake when another administration took out Iraq. You know, you had two for centuries. They would fight each other under different names, under religion, but they were the same strength. And they'd fight and fight and fight, and then they'd relax, and then they'd fight and fight and fight. This went on for centuries. And then somebody who wasn't a very smart person eliminated one of the sides, and the other one was left with nobody to fight. And now the other one basically has Iraq as a subsidiary. And Iraq is very rich, and so is Iran very rich. When I was there, Iran had no money. Now Iran has $350 billion, all made in 3.5 years. They took off the sanctions. But Iraq is like a subsidiary of Iran. Don't let anyone ever tell you. And Iraq has over $300 billion. So this is a very rich two nations, and they are essentially one. And they're getting closer and closer all the time. This is a nightmare that should have never happened. Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, you see the Houthis all over? They've long dreamed of making all of this come true, and if Kamala Harris wins the election, her weakness and incompetence, she's grossly incompetent. Look, she can't do an interview, okay? And let me tell you, I won that debate by a lot. By a lot. You know, I walked off the stage, I said, man, did I beat her, even though I was against 3 people. I kept saying, I said, what are you doing here? And you know, the things I said were right. Like I said, we have massive increases in crime. And David Muir said, that's not true. The statistics show that crime is going down. Anybody in their right mind, take a look at what's happening from the border. That we have crime that's worse. I said, you're wrong on that. Crime is going down. Now let's go to the next one. I said, what the hell was that all about? I only have one regret, that I wanted to be elegant and I didn't want to attack the anchors, which would have been very easy to do. So I didn't attack them, but I should have attacked them because it was 3-on-1. It's like a basketball game, 3-on-1. It's very hard. But we did well. And you know what? Since the debate, we're getting great kudos because they're analyzing the debate. They say, you know, Trump was right. I was right on everything. She made up all these stories, a bloodbath story. She made up all of these stories. It's disgraceful. And that's the problem we have. We have a fake media, and so we have to fight harder, and we have to be stronger, and we have to be much smarter. And by the way, Israel and Jewish people are attacked by the media that I can't even believe. The New York Times is controlled by a Jewish family. I don't think there's anybody worse to Israel than the New York Times is. I read articles about Israel that I know are false. The New York Times and plenty of others. So my message today is very simple. If you want Israel to survive, you need Donald J. Trump as the 47th president of the United States. It's a very simple message. Very, very simple. Right? Thank you, everybody. Under my leadership, America will once again stand shoulder to shoulder with our friend and ally, the State of Israel. Right now, all they do is fight the State of Israel. Don't do this, don't do that. I will support the same people that gave us Afghanistan are telling you what to do, by the way, which every one of those generals should have been fired. You know, I knocked out ISIS in 4 weeks. It was supposed to take 5 years. I did it in 4 weeks. I had great generals. We have the greatest army in the world, but not the people that are on television. These are people that don't know what the hell they're doing. They should have all been fired. I will support Israel's right to win its war on terror, and it has to win it fast. Will you please win it fast? Win it, but you have to win it fast if you can. And I was always, thank you very much, I will always defend Israel's fundamental right to exist as a Jewish nation in the Jewish homeland. That's what it's about, isn't it? But remember this, you're under attack like never before. There's never been a time like this that people can remember. This was a period, they say, if you read, and I find it very interesting, but this was just before the Holocaust. I think there's a very great similarity because nobody can believe what's been happening. If Kamala Harris wins instead of the most pro-Israel president ever, which I have been already declared to be, you will have the most anti-Israel president by far, far worse than Barack Hussein Obama. Over the past 12 months, Kamala Harris has repeatedly demanded an immediate ceasefire to save Hamas. She wants to save Hamas. Meanwhile, she and Biden deployed U.S. military to build a $230 million pier to resupply Hamas. The pier didn't work out too well. Every time there was a little rough weather, the thing got ripped apart. Those of you in the real estate business know what I'm going to say. Those contractors made a hell of a lot of money. 230 million every time there's a little rain. It blew apart. Wonderful job. This was not General Patton's bridge. General Patton knew how to build them. He built them fast and cheap. Kamala Harris has even suggested that she would consider imposing a full arms embargo against Israel, and what she wants to do. One thing about politicians, like she wants to defund the police, she wants to do all these things, no fracking, you know, now she wants fracking, no fracking. For 20 years, there will be no fracking. And then she's a chameleon. He said, that's true. She just yesterday reaffirmed her support for blocking major arms shipments, as you know, to Israel. She blocked them. If these are positions Kamala Harris takes before the election, just wait to see what she would do after the election. You won't have a country left. Israel will be doomed. I really mean that. Israel will be doomed. And, you know, I said to Miriam today, I said, you know, they have to go through a little tough love here today because we have to tell the facts. Israel will not exist within 2 years if she becomes president. And what a difference a president makes. Big difference. Just 4 years ago, when I left office, the United States and Israel were safer, closer, and stronger than they have ever been before, by far. Under my leadership, we totally obliterated the ISIS caliphate. We terminated its founder and leader, al-Baghdadi. I withdrew from the horrendous Iran nuclear deal and imposed the toughest ever sanctions on the Iranian regime. They had no money. They wanted to make a deal. The saddest part, they had no money. They wanted to make a deal. And these guys came in and they never made a deal. You could have made any deal, but now they're rich again because he took all the sanctions off and everybody started buying, in particular China. China went from buying nothing under Trump to buying billions and billions of dollars of oil a month. I withdrew from the anti-Semitic UN Human Rights Council, which was a big thing. I sanctioned the anti-American and anti-Israel radicals of the International Criminal Court. Many of you know what that meant. That was a big deal. I defunded the Palestinian Authority and choked off all of the money to Hamas. Don't forget, nobody ever did that. I said, how much are we paying them? Almost $1 billion, sir. I say, they treat us so disrespectfully. They say death to America, and we're giving them money. Why are we giving them money when they say death to America? So I said, how much money do we give them? Almost $1 billion. I said, tell them they're in default. You're not supposed to treat us that way when we give you money. Tell them that they won't be getting money anymore until such time as we make a deal. And I will tell you, we had them very, very close, and then we had an election that really hurt it, and too bad. But we did do the Abraham Accords and other things, but I would have even preferred to do this. We would have had something done. Just as I promised, I recognize Israel's eternal capital and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. Jerusalem became the capital. I also recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. You know, Miriam and Sheldon would come into the White House probably almost more than anybody outside of people that worked there. And they were always after, and as soon as I'd give them something, always for Israel. As soon as I'd give them something, they'd want something else. I said, give me a couple of weeks, will you please? But I gave them the Golan Heights, and they never even asked for it. You know, for 72 years, they've been trying to do the Golan Heights, right? And even Sheldon didn't have the nerve. But I said, you know what? I said to David Friedman, give me a quick lesson, like 5 minutes or less on the Golan Heights. And he did. And I said, let's do it. We got it done in about 15 minutes, right? 72 years. You know, for 72 years, it's true. Planes would fly in, fly out, fly in. In the old days, there weren't such nice planes. But they'd fly in every year. They'd have a meeting on the Golan Heights. They'd have lunch. They'd have dinner. They'd have this. They'd have that. They'd leave. Nothing would happen, right? And then one day, Trump came along, and it was done very quickly. 4 years ago, last Sunday, we signed the historic Abraham Accords. It's a big deal. And secured peace in the Middle East. That was peace in the Middle East, really. 4 very strong countries, and we would have had all of the countries signed. We would have had, in my opinion, I know this sounds ridiculous, I believe Iran even would have signed because of all of the benefits and all of the trade and all of the other things. I believe that, but we won't get a chance to see that because the 4 countries are still 4 countries. Within 6 months, we would have had just about all of the countries done. Biden and Kamala have done no countries into the Abraham. It's still there with the 4, but nothing's been added to it. It's a shame. But from the moment Kamala got to the White House, she and Crooked Joe took over, historic successes, and turned them into unprecedented failure and peril. You know that. Harris restored funding to the Palestinian organizations immediately, giving them billions and billions of dollars. And much of that money went directly to Hamas. Then Kamala and Joe Biden delivered over $100 billion in sanctions relief, all stuff that I held back. And I would have been very good. They would have been very happy. I wanted one thing from Iran: no nuclear weapon. I didn't want much. No nuclear weapon. And now they're very close to getting it, and you can't let that happen. They're very close to getting it. Here at home, Kamala's partnered, and she's partnered with anybody she can. You hear the things coming out of the administration. You hear what they're saying. But she pandered to the Hamas supporters and the anti-Semites in her own party. The things she says, it's not even believable. She said that radical anti-Israel demonstrators on college campuses were, quote, showing what human emotion should be. Oh, isn't that nice? I'm telling you, Israel has no chance. Jewish people that love Israel have no chance. As border czar, which she denies she ever was, but she was the border czar. But even if she wasn't, she was in charge of the border. So what difference does it make? She let in thousands and thousands of terrorists at our southern border. 21 million people, of which thousands of terrorists have poured in. When I was there, I let in almost none, almost none. They had a chart that was a very well-known chart. I liked it very much. It's probably my favorite chart of all time. Remember that? I looked to the right. Let me see that chart. I looked. It's my favorite chart of all time, but it showed the great numbers that we had. But one of the numbers that was released recently was that in 2019, one of my years, I don't believe this number, by the way. It was done by Homeland Security. I appreciate it, but I don't believe it. I had no terrorists coming into the United States. They had 0. Now we have thousands. So I don't believe the 0, but the number was very low. 10, 12, 5. How can it be zero? But they actually have zero. Then I had 0 terrorists. So we used to check it, but we had very little. Now we have thousands and thousands of terrorists pouring into our country. It's so sad, and only bad can happen. Only bad things are going to happen. She imported migrants from terrorist hotspots all over the world, and now we have armies of jihadist sympathizers brazenly marching through the streets of our cities. I've never seen anything like it. Where did they come from? How did they get here? Kamala Harris is the candidate of the forces that want to destroy Western civilization. The other day, in fact, it was yesterday, the FBI reported that Iran has spied on my campaign. I'm going to have to hire Alan Dershowitz. Only Alan Dershowitz could do it. Iran has spied on my campaign. Think of this, and given the information to Kamala. What's that all about? That alone should get me elected. Think of it. Iran got the information from my campaign and gave it immediately to Kamala and the campaign apparatus over on the other side. I'm the candidate of those who want to defend Western civilization, defend Israel, and defend the United States of America. When I return to the White House, we will quickly restore stability in the Middle East, and we will return the world to peace. And remember the phrase, peace through strength. You know, I had no wars for 4 years. I remember crooked Hillary Clinton. Remember, she was up debating me, and she said, look at him. Look at his rhetoric. He's going to cause wars. I said, no, my rhetoric's going to keep us out of wars, and that's what happened. We had no war for 4 years, other than I finished off ISIS. No war. First time in 78 years, by the way, just to brag a little bit, because nobody else is going to say it if I don't. Israel will have the support it needs and the powerful ally that it deserves in the United States. Here at home, I will ban refugee resettlement from terror-infested areas like the Gaza Strip. We will restore the travel ban, some people call it the Trump travel ban, and keep the radical Islamic terrorists out of our country. That was upheld by the Supreme Court, and it really did work. Again, we had no terrorist attacks into the United States. Think of it. Now I'm talking United States, if that's okay. We had no terrorist attacks for 4 years. Nothing. Nothing. They knew, don't play games with us. And we will deport the foreign jihad sympathizers and Hamas supporters from our midst. We will get them out. If you hate America, if you want to eliminate Israel, we will throw you out of our country so rapidly your head will spin. We're going to get them back. We're going to get those beautiful kids in some cases, because they're always your children. You know, they'll say, oh, he said children. No, they're always your children. And some older people also, by the way, but we're going to get them back. We got to get them back. We can't let this happen again. So incredible that you're to make the trip, so many people. It makes me realize how important this is, Miriam, frankly, for so many people to make the trip, and there's nothing more important than what you're going through, and there's nothing more important than the people that you love, and it will be so beautiful to see it work out well. We got to make it work out well. Got to make it. And to confront the crisis of anti-Semitism at our universities, I will tell college presidents that they must end the anti-Semitic propaganda, or they will lose their accreditation and they will lose all federal support. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. This is the most important election in the history of the United States, and it's also the most important election in the history of Israel. Can you imagine that? A non-Israeli election is the single most important election that Israel will ever have. Isn't that something? With all I have done for Israel, I received only 24% of the vote, but I understood that. That was in 2016. And, you know, it's one of those things I thought I'd do much better. I happen to have a Jewish daughter. I have a Jewish son-in-law. I have 3 Jewish grandchildren. I thought I'd do much better. But I only got 24%. Think of that. And then I became president of the United States and was the best president ever for Israel and for the Jewish people by far. Nobody was close. I gave them Golan Heights. I gave them the Abraham Accords. I recognized the capital of Israel and opened the embassy in Jerusalem. And most importantly of all, I terminated the Iran nuclear deal, which was the worst deal ever made in the history of Israel, in the history of the Middle East. I was there 4 years, gave them billions and billions of dollars. I was the best friend Israel ever had. And still in 2020, now I've done all these things, so now Jewish people have no excuse. I got 29%. I went from 25 to 29%. Think of that. Honestly, you didn't treat yourselves well. You didn't. It was a terrible thing. And what made me even more upset about it is the current polling has just been announced. Now, I just announced the polls and I'm now polling at about 40%. That means 60% of Jewish people are going to vote for Kamala or a Democrat. And honestly, you ought to have your heads examined. You ought to have your heads examined. And those votes may be necessary for us to win. I say us to win because we're in this together. But who are these people? Who are the 60% that would vote? And I really believe that bad things, very bad things are going to happen. And I'll put it to you very simply and as gently as I can. I wasn't treated properly by the voters who happen to be Jewish. I don't know, do they know what the hell is happening? If I don't win this election, and the Jewish people would really have a lot to do with that if that happens, because at 40%, that means 60% of the people are voting for the enemy. Israel, in my opinion, will cease to exist within 2 years, and I believe I'm 100% right. You know, there's a hat that comes out, Trump was right about everything, and I believe I'm right. And that's a hell of a thing to say, but I believe I'm right. If I do win, Israel will be safe and secured. We will stop the toxic poison of anti-Semitism from spreading here. All over America, it's spreading. It's spreading like it's never spread before. I've never seen anything like it. I really believe it would be obliteration, and it'll happen quickly, too. It's very close to happening. With your vote, we will reject anti-Semitism in our schools, reject it in our foreign policy. We will reject it in our immigration system. But all of that starts with rejecting Kamala Harris at the ballot box this election. Number one, she doesn't know what the hell she's doing. She doesn't know. She can't do an interview. How do you think she'll do against President Xi? She can't do an interview. And I'm not even saying she's stupid for not doing that, but her handlers know what they're doing. Can't have it. We went through 4 years of that. We can't go through another 4 years of that. Together we will save the United States of America, and we will save the state of Israel on November 5th, 2024. It will be the most important day in the history of Israel. It will be the most important day in the history of the United States. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless you. God bless Israel. Thank
you. That's what we're looking for in a leader. Being able to reach out to all these different groups and kind of put it all together, right?
He doesn't shy away.
Nope.
You name the group. I mean, did he walk into the Lion's Den with the black journalist?
Black journalist group.
Please. Yeah.
And he was getting cheered there. He was actually getting cheered and applauded, and they stood up when he left. I mean, vast difference from what we saw with if you look around on social media, you'll see the clips of Kamala Harris. Yes, they weren't very excited for her.
No,
and that was at the end. After she had spent some time with them, you would think, oh, okay, they're gonna give her not much. A smattering of applause for someone who's supposed to be the anointed one, that this was going to be their friendly crowd. It's going to be safe for her to go there. She can go into the National Black Journalists, and things will be great, and everybody will accept her and love her, and it'll be perfect. None of that happened.
There's only so many ways to frame joy.
Yeah,
you just so true. You can only frame it a few ways, and they even asked her about joy. Can you believe that was a question?
Yes.
From a journalist on a panel with the future president? Oh my God, did I just say that? No, not the future president. The VP of the United States?
Yeah, they wanted it.
Tell us about joy.
Yeah.
How do you feel about joy?
Oh man!
And again,
joy thing.
I watched a little bit of that interview that she gave, and a lot of it was again debate talking points.
Yeah.
She doesn't have anything else.
No, and she has to stay with those because if she goes off,
yep, all scripted.
Yeah, she goes off that she is doomed. They said today that in modern history, they've never had anyone do less appearances or interviews than Kamala. No, that's real.
Less.
No, nobody's done less interviews, et cetera, et cetera. The thing that is astonishing is she's getting away with it.
Right. Well, they're letting her get away with it.
They're letting her get away with it.
But when you say do less, that is what you get with a DEI hire, right? They're not expected to do much. They're just there to check a box and fill a seat, and that's about it. If you get anything out of them, well, then, woo, we actually got something. Hey, all right. They didn't burn the place down. Awesome. But other than that, really, there's not much that she offers. And again, you pull down that facade, and it's just a frame. There's nothing in there. There's nothing filling that house.
It's why I'm so excited about the VP debate. Because
too.
Vance knows his stuff.
Yes.
This is a smart guy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's no question at the intelligence level, but the intelligence level of speaking off the top of his head, of factual things that make sense. He is the guy that can actually talk to issues intelligently. He knows them. Waltz has no idea.
Nah.
And Waltz is such a putz. I didn't know what word to use.
I think dipwad actually works.
He's a dipwad. He's a putz. He comes off like such a goofball, and Vance does not come off that way. Right. He comes off very sharp, whether you like him or not. He comes off sharp. Yeah. He's intelligent.
Articulate.
He knows the subject matter. He's articulate. Exactly. And this other guy is all the opposite. So I'm loving this potential contrast.
Yeah.
And I think this is the most important debate.
Yeah.
I didn't view the Trump-Harris debate at that level because we've seen it. But I view the Vance debate way more important. This is huge because he'll get much more into the marketplace,
right. Yeah. And especially because, this is going to be the only one they do. There's still, she still wants another one, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. But this will be the last, I guess, debate before the presidential election for either president or vice president.
Hey, people starting to vote now.
Yeah.
Mail-in's happening.
Early voting starting.
So there you have it. All right. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll do some sports with Slick Rick. We'll get Brian Glenn on the horn, see what's going down. And, of course, more with you guys right there. Don't click. Where's the clicker? I found it. Here. No clicking. Live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice. We'll be back. Stay there.
Hey, seeing Vance on CNN with Dana Bash.
Oh, man.
I mean,
smacks her around.
He's just too smart for them.
Yeah.
Some politicians would get, a little concerned or beat up. I feel like I'm getting beat up. He's just too smart for that and confident. I'm like, put him on all those shows, Trump. Just put him on MSNBC. If they'll book him, put him on.
Right. Yeah.
Too bad we couldn't get another debate, but it's not going to happen with the president. and Kamala. I would love to see one more debate.
I would, in the context that the last debate was such a sham.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I would.
If they leveled the playing field just a touch, Vin, I'd like to see that. And then, as far as the way the moderators handle things, playing field was so tilted.
Oh, okay. So we're just doing regular coming out of the break kind of intro and then into him, then toss it to him. Yep.
Oh wait, we got to give a score here. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
I'm only kidding.
That for
No, we don't have to do that. You got to get him going. These people don't care about the score.
Okay. Gotcha.
Greg the leg.
You called it, by the way. I can't believe that.
I said he usually hooks it to the left. I just said to Vin, he usually hooks it to the left.
He did.
I honestly did. I said Greg the leg because the Cowboys released him and he went to the Jets, and the Cowboys picked up Brandon Aubrey, who is just incredible, and that's so funny. And I said every once in a while he used to get dicey. That's why the Cowboys didn't want nothing. They just, I don't know. Don't matter that. Yeah, you're kicking ass tonight. You know what? They'll probably win this game 35-3.
Thanks a lot, Slick.
Oh my goodness, he's really jinxed. He's throwing the scores out.
I am the kibosh.
Oh my God.
Delgado was seen on this show so many times over the years.
Don't you have sympathy for the Jet fans here? Come on, you got to have something.
What?
Hey, you're welcome.
You know what? That's your fault, Aaron.
I am going to copyright your line, though. Met, get a life stadium. I think I'll give you like a license. I'll license it from you. Okay,
I did years ago.
I like
first
that.
time I did it. They
Met, get a life stadium. I think that's hilarious. I won't go there.
It's a dump.
No, I'll go there. Not go there just for the traffic, man. I'll spend 3 hours getting up there.
They spent, I think they could have put a dome on it.
Live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Thursday night. Vin Buddha's here. Slick Rick is there. He's got some sports. We'll do that in just a little bit. We'll get a final sports breakdown before the end of the show. But right now, let's go to Washington, D.C. and throw it to our pal, friend of the show, and Real America's Voice, big guy himself. We're talking about Brian Glenn. Brian, take it away. What's going on in D.C., my friend?
Just moments ago, President Trump wrapped up his doubleheader here in Washington, D.C. We're at the IAC National Summit Council here at the Washington Hilton as he is talking to a couple of thousand people in this ballroom, not only talking about the points of how strong Israel was under the Trump administration, the threat that now Israel faces during a potential Kamala Harris. Now I'm whispering because there's a panel going on behind us. They are talking about the victims and the events on October 7th. So out of respect, I'm going to keep my voice a little bit lower for that. But President Trump did reflect on that moment in that nation's history and how many people are still held hostage and that demand to have them brought back. But he really did lay out a clear path that if you're for Israel, if you're for the nation of Israel and you want to have freedom and protection, that really President Trump is the only one right now with the foreign policy that protects Israel. Talked about his accomplishments he had under his administration, moving the embassy, recognizing Jerusalem as that. You've got the Abraham Accords as well, the Golan Heights. He listed all the accomplishments under a Trump administration and really made a clear distinction that he actually made a very bold prediction that if Kamala Harris was to become the 47th president, that within 2 years the nation of Israel would not exist. That's how dangerous the stakes are in terms of Israel. And so President Trump, obviously talks about a lot of immigration, talked about crime, talked about inflation just a little bit, but it really, really tailored down to the Jewish community and how much support President Trump has for the nation of Israel, and that would continue into the next administration. But as we come up on the anniversary of October 7th, obviously thoughts and prayers in this room and around this country that those that are held hostage can return. Guys, I'll throw it back to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Brian. And again, just another page in this book called the 2024 election. Great coverage and description there by Brian about what's going on. At first, I didn't understand. Like, I threw it to him like, hey, what's going on?
You expected more energy, right?
Yeah, you expect more energy from a Trump speech.
Guy, yeah.
But then you realize, this is, it's kind of a solemn thing what's going on right now.
I'm surprised they were able to get that hit off. That was good. But,
and he mentions, things about going on with Israel. This story, check this out. Israel thwarts Iranian plot. Oh, what a surprise, the Iranians. Plot to assassinate Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was an Israeli guy arrested that the Iranians got to help to try and do that. The only guy, put Israel just not aside, but just for this conversation, just move it over for a second. The only leader that can actually effectuate Iran is Trump.
Yeah.
1,000,000%.
Yeah,
and that all roads lead there.
Everybody else is bought and paid for.
Yep.
And it's just an amazing thing that they would sell not only themselves out, but our allies out.
Yeah, they have. And that's part of this, you and I think have talked about this once in a while when we've been together on the air, this whole globalist view. It plays into that globalist thing, and it's so evil. It's so wrong. Yet it plays into that narrative with whomever these folks are, with this whole globalist thing going on. Right. This is the fallout of it. And this is why you get scared for Trump, because they'll do anything for him not to become president, because he'll unwind all of that stuff.
That he knows what they're up to, and he, like you said, he's going to unwind. He's going to put a stop to it. That said, as well, Slick pointed me to this article coming from Breitbart, as Representative Matt Gaetz said during an appearance on Breitbart News Daily that there are currently 5 known assassination teams in the United States right now, 3 of which are foreign and are out to kill former President Donald Trump. Think about that. When you think about, how did these foreign assassination teams get in? Oh, we know. The current administration let them in.
Yeah.
They let them in through the border.
How'd that happen?
And what an amazing thing, because that's exactly what we've been railing about since Trump came down the escalator, is stopping illegal immigration and the damage it could do to this country. And now the damage is coming after him personally. Here's a Biden administration official talking about this very subject. This is cut number 3 about terrorists and the numbers that are coming across the border. Check this out.
We walk in. We have no idea who and what entered our country over this time. Throughout 2022 and 23, I sent agents to Texas and Arizona to count gotaways. Those sectors could not even put enough agents in the field to see what they'd missed. Simultaneously, in San Diego, we had an exponential increase in significant interest aliens. These are aliens with significant ties to terrorism. Prior to this administration, the San Diego sector averaged 10 to 15 SIA arrests per year. Once word was out the border was far easier to cross, San Diego went to over 100 SIAs in 2022, well over that in 2023, and even more than that registered this year. These are only the ones we caught. At the time, I was told I could not release any information on this increase in SIAs or mention any of the arrests. The administration was trying to convince the public there was no threat at the border.
Yeah, and there you have it. I mean, there you have it from one of the people working the border, one of the guys in charge, being told by this administration, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, who wants to be your next president, told them to hide the numbers. Don't let anybody know we're letting terrorists in.
Deliberately covering up a very, very unsafe environment they're putting us in. You, me, Slick, everybody out there, they're putting us in danger, and they're deliberately covering up that and having these people not be able to speak. Where's Mayorkas? Where is he?
Where is he? Is right.
Where is this guy? Why isn't anybody talking to this guy? Is he at the drive-thru at Dunkin' Donuts, or is he doing something here?
Yeah,
he's doing nothing.
He's busy booking more flights for more terrorists.
These people should be held for treason.
Yeah.
And the thing that really drives me crazy with all this stuff, Where's the accountability? How do we get accountability? We uncover thing after thing after thing they do. We have to get to accountability. I don't want to go backwards and drag stuff down, but I have to say, in order to move forward, there has to be accountability.
Yeah.
You can't, I do a lot of turnarounds. It's one of the things I've been doing 20 years, turning around companies. And you have to change the culture, and you got to clean out where there's a mess.
Yeah.
You got to do that. There has to be accountability. You do that, people trust you. But we need that as citizens of this country.
Well, that's the drain the swamp mentality, and hopefully it comes to pass. We got about a minute or so. Let's get over to Slick Rick with sports. Get an update. What do you got, Slick?
I'll give you the Thursday night football game. Jets looking good, up 14-3 in command right now. Just the start of the second half, and the Jets need this one to continue their roll, win their second in a row. I don't know if New England's going to have an answer. They got a beat up line, like Aaron astutely said earlier today, and Jacoby Brissett looks like again the brisket ain't too good from the earlier tonight. What do you call it there? Tailgating, I should say. And that's it. So I'm all flustered. I'm angry. I want to see I'm going down the tubes here with my picks.
I was wondering where you were going with the brisket. That was a good one.
Jacoby Brissett. There we go. So Jets looking good, even though Greg the Leg missed that. He shanked that field goal that I called right before he did it. Yep. I'll tell you. That's a wrap in sports, Rick. Back to you.
All right. Again, Slick Rick Sports brought to you by Mike Lindell's MyPillow. Go to mypillow.com. Use our code at checkout and save yourself a ton of money on some great stuff from a great patriot himself, Mr. Mike Lindell. That just about does it for us on this Thursday night. We'll see you tomorrow night, Friday, to kick off the weekend. In the meantime, as always, we thank you for watching. We, of course, thank our military, active and retired. Also, we salute all the people working on the front lines, the border agents, the doctors, the nurses, everybody doing their best to make our lives that much easier. The firemen. I'm getting distracted by the posing going on over here. Fire, police, everybody doing their jobs. Thank you so much. You guys at home. Slick Rick here, Vin there, Fran and Aaron in the booth, and of course you guys at home. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow night, Friday. Studio 6B, Real America's Voice. Peace.